On this edition of Somerville Neighborhood News, meet the students behind the LGBT flag-raising ceremony, visit the Full Circle Alternative High School, find out about the city's efforts to help those suffering from opioid addiction, meet the new director of Somerville's library system, take a tour of the city's oldest cemetery, and dig into some old community TV archives through Community Vault. All these and more on Somerville Neighborhood News.
Hello and welcome to Somerville Neighborhood News. Today is June 2nd, 2015. I'm Joe Lynch. Somerville Neighborhood News is your bi-monthly newscast and online source for multimedia news. It's a community service production of SCATV, created by staff, interns, and your neighbors. We bring you the news every 2 weeks on Channel 3 and on our website, somervilleneighborhoodnews.org. June is LGBT Pride Month across the country. Here in Somerville, the Gay Straight Alliance at Somerville High School joined city and state officials to raise the rainbow flag above the City Hall concourse. Reporter Louise Liu took the opportunity to explore GSA relations within the school.
We respect each other's values. We respect another person to choose how they love and who they love.
Acceptance, respect, and pride marked the annual LGBT flag raising on the City Hall concourse. Last Wednesday, Mayor Curtatone and the Somerville High School Gay Straight Alliance hosted this ceremony to support the local LGBT community.
We are a place that doesn't just tolerate, we celebrate, and we really like that. It's one of the most welcoming places I think you could be really in the world to be part of the community.
The city has come a long way in terms of treating the LGBT community. Somerville High School English teacher and GSA advisor Julia Post grew up in Somerville at a time when there was less tolerance. The gay community was not welcome when she was a student at Somerville High. Post advises the GSA to support LGBT students who are finding their way.
As an openly bisexual teacher myself, I have a lot of friends in the community. I'm part of the community. I think it is important to keep pushing this message of acceptance and teaching people and just giving people the information they need.
The Somerville High School students benefit the most from the GSA. Sam Williams speaks at the ceremony as a GSA representative.
Raising this flag means so much to me because it shows the struggles of everything that we, the LGBT members of the community, have had to go through over the years.
She joined the GSA in junior year because
I wanted to explore and learn a bit more about myself as a bisexual female in Somerville High. So I decided to come and meet people that I could connect with on this level, that I could talk to them about my problems and they would understand.
Williams says she also personally benefits from the events that GSA hosts, like the flag raising and the Day of Silence.
I see that other people are supporting the LGBT community, and I see other people also have our back, even though they don't actively support it and stuff like that. Like, you just see that all these people do care and they do participate, and they're here to raise their voices by participating and showing up to events like this.
Building support and spreading acceptance is an ongoing process. GSA member Brian Garcia wants to build bridges between all the diverse groups at Somerville High.
For those people who don't have equal rights in the school, I want to be able to fight for them because since I'm outside their group, they can have an outsider be on their side. I'm not trying to make you love the LGBT community. I'm just saying you have to respect them because they're trying to gain your respect by keeping their respect for you.
It shouldn't matter who you love, Like, if I have a girlfriend, it shouldn't matter to somebody who's like a conservative and is anti-gay. It shouldn't matter to them because they're not the one going through it. I just want them to understand that it should be acceptable and there's nothing wrong with it.
The flag-raising ceremony is not only a celebration for the LGBT youth, but also a proud moment for the prior generation who has been fighting for their rights for decades. It's the respect for diversity that makes Somerville great. For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Louise Liu.
Although it is a reminder of how far relations have come, students are still working to incorporate more LGBT topics in the curriculum and to enforce existing rules more effectively whenever students are bullied in school, spreading the message of acceptance and respect. For more information on LGBT issues, visit lgbtq.org. at somervillema.gov. Finding a place to fit can be difficult for any teenager. Not every student fits comfortably in a traditional high school setting, making alternative school programs a valuable option for academic success. Reporter Laura Onyenaho walks the halls with students and faculty from the Full Circle Alternative School.
Inside the halls of the Full Circle Alternative High School are students striving for another chance at a fresh start. The opportunity to pursue their dreams of achieving a higher education.
I have a bright future for myself. I really want to graduate high school and go to college, join the Navy. That's been my plan. And do a double major of management of business and prosecutor.
For some students like Beverly, her choice to transfer to Full Circle involved only one factor.
You get one-on-one with teachers, and teachers really focus on you, and they really want you to succeed. And every day they're on your back to come and do the right thing. My life is very complicated right now. Me coming here has been good because I have a lot of support. I actually have people that will listen to me, that I cry to, and that give me advice.
Full Circle is designed to support students facing behavioral, social, or academic issues in the public school environment. Teachers don't only instruct, but they also play a role as counselors.
And being a teacher, counselor, I believe it makes you closer to the kids, not just academically, but helping them with personal issues that sometimes they have. That makes the school very different from others.
The school's mission seeks to break stereotypes attached to alternative school programs. Edith has taught at the high school for 12 years. She feels alternative high schools are generally misunderstood.
I have friends that say, "Oh, you teach there, oh." And this is a great place. These are great kids who are willing to learn, but they need to be respected also. And how can I put this into words? I would love to have people come and visit and see for yourself.
I feel like we're the same as high school kids, Somerville high school kids. We're not really different. We just have different problems sometimes. No one's perfect. So we're not crazy kids. We're not delinquents.
Because at Somerville High, I guess it was kind of harder in a way. So that's why I didn't go to as many classes as I should. And they said that this school would help me, get back up to speed where I should be.
Terrell struggled with class attendance during his time at Somerville High School. He says by achieving his dream of becoming a police officer, he can become an example for others.
This is one of the reasons why I want to be a police officer, because I want people to know because I'm of color doesn't mean I'm any less than anybody else. You can come to me just like you can come to anybody else, and if anything, I can help you better than anyone else could because I've been through most of the stuff that you've been through.
The term, it takes a village. It is very true. I wouldn't mind putting my own child here, for the attention and the caring that goes into teaching here. And it is too bad that there is this perception out there. And I can't speak highly enough.
The school's amazing. I guess amazing, helpful, joy to be around people that to care for you, and just enlightening.
Graduating seniors from Full Circle have continued their education at schools like Bunker Hill and Middlesex Community College. The school plans to add more college field trips and prep resources to help students continue to pursue their educational goals. For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Laura Onyenaho.
Full Circle and its partner middle school, Next Wave, are part of the Somerville Public Schools system and enroll approximately 100 students each year. We've been exploring the opiate overdose issue in Somerville over the past month. The epidemic is sweeping the state, and Somerville has not been spared. During the first 3 months of this year alone, at least 6 people have overdosed in Somerville. In our last newscast, former addicts and their family members stood up to share their stories. This week, reporter Yushao Yun talked to Alderman Matt McLaughlin and Patty Contente from the city's Trauma Response Network to learn about the city's efforts.
In the Morse Kelly Playground, a plaque commemorates the spot where a 16-year-old died of an OxyContin overdose 20 years ago.
We felt at the time that, this death, while tragic, might at least lead to people changing their behavior and realizing the problems with opiates. And unfortunately, it was just the first of many deaths to happen. And it's a problem that's happened in the early to mid 1990s, and it is still a problem today.
As a Somerville native, Alderman Matt McLaughlin witnessed many overdose deaths while growing up.
And I feel like a lot of kids kind of lost hope. The dreams they had when they were young got diminished and shrunk a little bit. And when it came time to face reality, people weren't ready for that. And it was a lot easier to stay in this drug world than it was to, pull it together and, go to college and all these things.
What upsets McLaughlin even more is the lack of funding for inpatient rehab programs in the city.
One of the things that killed me most of anything is in 2008, around that time period, at the height of our previous opiate epidemic, the Somerville Hospital closed their rehab center. The clear thing we need is just more resources, more time and money allocated towards getting people into treatment.
Patty Contente from the city's Trauma Response Network is also concerned.
There is definitely a lack of beds for the number of people who are suffering from addiction, meet that diagnostic criteria. There really just aren't enough inpatient beds. But what more is concerning is there is no continuum of treatment. But there are, I think that one of the main things that we are trying to do in Somerville and at a community level is really work in partnership with community groups. There are many. There's Somerville Overcoming Addiction is a very active community group, and they are willing to partner and volunteer and assist in many ways. So we're trying to look at training resources. We're considering recovery coaching. How can we bring that resource as a way to provide alternative community supports while folks are waiting for those treatment beds and longer-term treatment.
Item 10 is a resolution submitted by Alderman McLaughlin.
The Board of Aldermen are taking action. On May 14th, the board passed a resolution encouraging police to help addicts, not to arrest them.
I hope Somerville could take a page out of Gloucester. And the city of Gloucester is come out basically saying that if you come to the police station and ask for help with the substance abuse problem, they will help you, they won't arrest you. They said that any addict who comes to the police headquarters will get, quote, an angel to walk them down the road toward detox recovery.
A long time, they have a quarry, they can't get a job, they're back in this terrible cycle. If we can stop that before it starts by treating people, instead of putting people away in prison where they don't belong and they only get worse and we only make criminals out of people, that is the productive route.
The city and the police department are moving in the same direction. According to Contente, Somerville recently hired a substance abuse counselor to work at the police station.
The goal will be to ensure that family members have information on resources to support themselves and gain knowledge about how to support their loved one in recovery, and then also to reach out those impacted by addiction to offer opportunities for support to engage in treatment and resources that will help them to recover.
The new initiatives will likely help, but will they be enough?
It's a big cycle. There's prevention, stopping people before they start. There's helping people when they need the help, and then there's helping people after the fact, because once you're addicted, you're a recovering addict for the rest of your life. Even if you go years without using, the drug has such a hard hold on you that you're considered an addict forever. So we really need beginning, middle, and end treatment to this issue.
Somerville is fighting back as the other families across the nation do, but these are only small steps in the long-term battle. We'll keep an eye on the local efforts. For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.
In 2014, Somerville joined the Massachusetts Opioid Addiction and Prevention Collaborative to develop strategies to fight the epidemic. For information on outpatient programs at the Cambridge Health Alliance, visit www.challiance.org/services/addictionservices.aspx. Now let's see what's in this week's Somerville Journal with editor Dan Atkinson.
Hello, this week in the Somerville Journal, we'll be looking at property tax relief for seniors. We'll be examining damage done to Draw 7 Park by the winter snowstorms, and we'll have complete coverage of the Class Day and graduation ceremonies at Somerville High School. You can always find us online at somerville.wickedlocal.com, on Twitter @VilleJournal. You can get in touch with me at 617-629-3385 or datkinson@wickedlocal.com.
The Somerville Library System has a new leader at the helm. Glenn Ferdman recently came on board as Director of Library Services from Park University in Missouri. Ferdman brings over 20 years of experience with him, having worked in everything from medical libraries to university settings. SNN News Director Heather Avison recently sat down with him. Here's an excerpt from their conversation.
I'm Heather Avison here at Somerville Community Access Television, and I'm very pleased to introduce to you today Glenn Ferdman, the new Director of Libraries here in the City of Somerville. Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I have a master's degree in library science from Indiana University. I'm a native of Chicago. I've been working in the library profession for about 25 years. I often refer to myself as a library mutt because there's virtually no library environment that I haven't worked in, be it school library, academic library, public library. My first professional position, as a matter of fact, was at a law firm library.
What do you bring as your first priority that you would like to see move forward?
Well, one of the first things I've been doing is getting to know the staff, establishing and building those relationships, learning about what it is that we do on a more granular scale in terms of the services that we offer, the programs that we do, the collections.
When you talk about the locality of a branch and gearing it towards that demographic, how does that fit into the bigger picture of the future of libraries?
You know, in terms of the trends, current trends and best practices in public libraries, similar to academic libraries actually, in creating open spaces, technology-rich spaces, flexible spaces that could be used for a variety of purposes, whether it be group individual study, meeting spaces, collaborative type of work, with furniture that can be easily arranged and rearranged for a variety of different purposes. Lots of places to plug in because increasingly people are bringing their devices with them to the library. And of course, I get asked this question a lot, books will never go away.
In my
mind, there's this marriage between the print and the digital. I see them as coexisting as opposed to being these oppositional forces. Now, having said that, it's true if you look at the statistically speaking, libraries across the board, whether they happen to be public or academic libraries, the trend is in the last several years that circulation of print materials is going in this direction, whereas circulation and usage of electronic books and related resources is going like this. Having said that, at the same time, there's still and will always be, at least I hope there will be, a demand for print resources. It's a question of, finding the right mix.
Tell me about your favorite childhood memory from the library.
Oh gosh, well, just going there is a safe place to go, a quiet place to read and to explore. That's another reason why I hope do everything in my power to prevent print books from going away. It's that serendipity factor, just getting lost in the stacks and wandering, right? And coming across stuff that you never would have had you not had that ability. But I don't think anything, any digital environment can truly replicate that experience of just wandering through and getting lost in the stacks. And then, you look at your watch and hours have gone by and before you know it.
So I encourage everyone to visit the library, say hello to the new director, and thanks you
so much.
And welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure.
The Somerville Public Library System has summer reading programs for children and teens. Visit their website at somervillepublic.org. somervillepubliclibrary.org or stop in at your local branch for more information. The West Library branch is located in Davis Square, the East Library branch on Lower Broadway, and the Central Library on Highland Avenue, adjacent to the high school. You can view the entire interview with Glenn Ferdman at SCATV, somerville.org. There is a tiny gem that holds a significant place in Somerville history that has been receiving some much-needed polishing thanks to efforts of several preservation groups. The Milk Row Cemetery is a green oasis tucked along busy Somerville Ave. Reporter Julie Frendeck spent time at the cemetery as it opened its gates for the first time this spring.
The cemetery is an oasis along a very bustling commercial area, which is now known as Somerville Avenue, previously known as Milk Row, because this was the route that the farmers took to get their products from Arlington and the outer lands into Boston.
Milk Row Cemetery is nestled between Market Basket and industrial brick buildings in the heart of Somerville on Somerville Avenue. The cemetery opened in the early 1800s and houses over 2,000 bodies, with burials dating from 1836 to as recently as 1975. In 2002, Brandon Wilson, the executive director of the Somerville Preservation Commission, worked alongside the Somerville Historical Society and the Somerville Garden Club to come up with a master plan for the preservation of the cemetery, which has been designated as its own historic district by the Preservation Commission. The rehabilitation and preservation plan consists of 3 phases.
The first phase was to actually do some repairs of the grave markers and such. Some of the stones have fallen over and grave markers, and also to do regrading and to make it universally accessible within the cemetery, which is very important so that everybody could come in here. And also the Civil War monument, which is a very significant piece here, was restored or conserved, as they say, cleaned up.
Stone itself is dissolving in the water and the rain because it's slightly acidic. So I know you've heard of acid rain. So as long as you can keep the water flowing off, the design is very good, because even though it's hardest on the eagle at the top, but the rest, the water comes down and then it flows out over the inscriptions to protect the inscriptions. That's a very well-designed monument.
Then we also did some landscaping site work, and there's 8 tombs that are here, which are people that were buried back again in the late 1800s, or early 1800s when the cemetery was established. And so we repaired 2 of those 8, or rehabilitated them.
During Phase 2, the wrought iron fencing along Somerville Avenue was restored and refinished. Since the fencing dates back to the 18th century, it had to be handled carefully and in a historically sensitive way.
And now we have just applied for what I'll call Phase 3, which is to finish restoring or rehabilitating the tombstone over here. And this is the grant that we just prepared for to the Mass Historical Commission. And the way we were able to prepare that was because we got money from the city's Community Preservation Act, CPA. This is the first round of funding that the CPC for the city has been able to issue, and we were very pleased to get a little over $48,000 from them.
Through the rehabilitation and preservation of the cemetery, the Commission hopes that the citizens of Somerville will take an interest in their heritage and appreciate the historical significance of the burial sites.
I think it's interesting that people that have grown up in the city didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the cemetery for many years because, as I said, it was neglected, and they had a problem with homeless people being here and vandals, and it just basically was not an area that was well attended to. And that's really changed, and I think people are more and more interested in their ancestors.
The cemetery also houses a piece of living history, this striking American elm. Somerville Avenue was lined with American elms until the Dutch elm disease devastated the species in the mid-20th century. This tree has been standing for over 100 years, and in the last year has undergone treatments to prevent Dutch elm disease.
As the summer approaches, the cemetery will be open twice a week on weeknights and every other weekend. For Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Julie Frendeck.
The cemetery is the final resting place of both the lofty, such as Samuel Tufts, and the not-so-well-heeled. It was used as a pauper's grave in the mid-1800s. You can find out more information about opening times and tours at www.somervillema.gov. You know those old VHS tapes and family videos that are collecting dust on a shelf somewhere in the basement? Well, local community access groups in the Boston area have similar collections. SCATV staff member Erica Jones and a dedicated committee have encouraged local access groups and others to dig deep into their archives and share their legacy. Community Vault is a curated screening of archival and contemporary videos, PSAs, and documentaries produced over the last 30 years. SCATV's Erica Jones gives us a sneak peek at what we can expect.
The idea for Community Vault originated out of a casual conversation with some friends, and we were discussing how much awesome content is created at different community media stations. Some centers have been around for nearly 30 years, so you can imagine how much content comes out of there. Community Vault is pretty great in that it does intersect a lot of different stories. What's surprising and amazing is to see stuff that has happened in the 1980s and then here present day in 2015 and realizing, wow, like things have not changed at all.
We've been lied to, we've been duped, bamboozled, hoodwinked, line from Malcolm X if you've seen it.
It's still kind of like a moment to step back and to think about these things, and that's what one aspect to Community Vault is what we're trying to do. It's just to engage people to think about where we are today and where people were 30 years ago dealing with the same or similar situations. There's going to be a little bit more lighthearted, some serious, some social critique, some fashion, reflections. So it'll be a really fun video screening.
Downtown Somerville, come on down. Wait, hold a sec. There's a ruckus in the room. There seems to be some commotion. I think it's Mickey. I think Mickey's here. Hold on, let me see if Mickey Bisco just walked into the room, ladies and gentlemen. It's unbelievable. Mickey, can we get a word with you?
What we're using today, we have a lot of DSLR cameras, but in the 80s and 90s, I mean, even up until 10 years ago, the cameras that we're using were humongous. So you see people out there, recording, and it's just interesting to compare it to where we are today, and everything is like tiny and very mobile. So yeah, it's an interesting critique also on like the technological advancements.
Hello in there. What? What are you doing? Don't you ever sleep? What are you, some kind of android or something?
The support of Emily Falsigno, Brian McEwen, and Amanda Wild and myself, we really brought together a good team to review the content and put together an awesome curated screening for people to come and enjoy.
The Community Vault screening will take place at the Davis Square Theater on Saturday, June 20th at 3 p.m. For more information on the screening and to purchase tickets, visit communityvault.tv. That's our newscast for now. We'll be back with a new program on June 16th at 7 p.m. on Channel 3. In the meantime, check out our news stories at somervilleneighborhoodnews.org. Also, visit our Facebook page, SCATV SNN, to comment and share your favorite segments. Tweet us at SCATV SNN. We welcome you to get involved, become a reporter, or just share your story ideas. Call us at 617-628-8826 or email us at news@scatvsomerville.org. I'm Joe Lynch. Thanks for joining us. See you soon, Somerville.